Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about Worlds of Radiance by Sanderson, parts 1 through 3. Nobody in the comments spoil me about parts 4 and 5. I will hunt you down. Just kidding. No, I'm not. So I decided to split this video up as I'm reading it because there's so much, there's so much that happened in the Way of Kings, and my video on that was just kind of skimming through it. I felt like I wasn't exactly as concise as I wanted to be, so I thought it would make more sense to talk about the first half now, and then the second half when I finish it. You know what I mean. So this novel opens with a Jasna flashback. Who I like Jasna. She's a very interesting character, very mysterious, and it's interesting being inside of her head. I don't know if we're gonna see more of that or not, considering Jasna's dead, but I don't think she's dead. I don't know. It was too she's not dead. I just feel like she's not dead. This prologue shows Seth killing her father, which leads me to think there's gonna be some conflict with that, either in this book or book 3 or book 4, or however many books he's gonna make of this. Jasna also finds out that she's able to soulcast, which is transforming matter. So it's like a little Jasna origin story. I think that's really interesting. Moving on to part 1. Jasna's this is in present now. Jasna's trying to bind the houses together, have a little arranged marriage. So she wants Shallan to marry Adolin. And honestly, I think they'd be a good match. They're both kind of assholes, but endearing in a way. Shallan meets this little freak named Pattern, who, Kate Reading's, voice for Pattern is so funny. It's just, this weird gremlin creature.
What is a lie?
It reminds me of, Abed from Community doing the gnome when they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's so funny. It always takes me out of the book because it's just so hilarious. I don't know if she's trying to be or not, but it's so funny. Anyway, while they're trying to get there, Jasna's attacked and killed by assassins. Shallan's able to escape though, and she's able to get Jasna's notes and stuff, and trying to get the Adolin and marry him. Meanwhile, Dalinar's still having these crazy visions. He's like a prophet. Kaladin and the bridgemen, no longer bridgemen. They're kind of looking for Dalinar now, so our heroes are together, which is kind of cool. It makes the story a lot more easy to follow than the first one because they're not all in separate places, they're kind of together. The Kaladin and his buddies are seen as heroes, but some of the Light Eyes are being racist to them because they have dark eyes, which I think is a really interesting metaphor for racism. In this universe, it's not skin color, it's eye color. That's interesting. It kind of shows how dumb racism is when you could just pick apart that from arbitrary reasons like skin or eyes or whatever, hair color. Meanwhile, Kaladin is training to become a Windrunner, and he's chilling with his buddy Syl. I really want Syl to meet Pattern. I think they'd be friends. Really interested, when Kaladin's gonna meet Shallan. I don't know if it's gonna be at the end of this book or the future books, but I think they'd have I don't know if they get along or not, because I think Kaladin will think Shallan's pampered in a way, because Kaladin had such a rough life. But I don't think Shallan is pampered. I think Kaladin would think that. Anyway, back to Dalinar. He gets all these weird Twin Peaks dreams about all the lore and stuff, and if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not really invested in the lore, the magic, or the world building. I know reading a Brandon Sanderson book I should be, but to be honest, I'm more invested in the characters and I don't care about all these fake worlds. Like, you know, you have to you have to harness the power of the mega doo doo. Okay, but the gist of it is, um, Dallin wants to reform the Knights Radiance, get the band back together, um, to fight the bad guys. They're like this ancient order of wizards. He's pimping out his son to fight people, to steal the swords and weapons and stuff. This book also does something interesting, like in the interludes, we focus on the Parshendi's point of view, which I think was kind of lacking in book one, because in book one, the Parshendi just seemed like this big, like, group of enemies without really like a face or just names, just kind of like, like one of the few things I'm not a big fan of the Lord of the Rings for is that like the orcs are just one big cluster, like this hive mind. This book, you get to see the Parshendis from Vanille's perspective, and I think that's interesting because it fleshes them out more as a species. They have like their own little social structure and classes and stuff. So, meanwhile, Adolin is picking up swords like he's playing a video game. It's like when you defeat an enemy, or like you kill a zombie or a human in The Last of Us, and you just steal their weapon. It's kind of just like that. Ash and I kind of want to make peace with Dallin, and Ash and I is an interesting character because like Venli, it helps make the bad guys not like this, hive mind. Shalon's, doing her research and becoming a light bender, or whatever the fuck it's called. Shalon's kind of going through a little Daenerys arc right now, and she's like convincing these slave disorders to fight back, against these bandits. Pretty cool scene there where she uses her magic to intimidate people and save them. Say about like book one was definitely Kaladin's book. This one's a lot more focused on Shalon, which is interesting. We see a lot of flashbacks from her perspective. Shalon becomes friends with Tin. Turns out Tin's evil, so Shalon has to bust a cap in her ass. But it's interesting because like Shalon kind of gets a little taste of her own medicine, because she was lying to Jasna. Now Tin is lying to her, and she's like, "Wow, I hate being manipulated." So, meanwhile, with Kaladin, they're like, "Holy shit, these assassins are coming. Let's get the fuck out of here." Unfortunately, Sazeth shows up. I really want to see more inside of Sazeth's head because I think he's a really interesting character. There's this huge epic fight, which I think looked really good in like a movie or a TV show. Well, Sazeth is fighting Dalinar and Kaladin, and it's pretty cool. Adolin and Kaladin aren't really getting along that well. Adolin doesn't really trust Kaladin, because he's kind of racist, and Kaladin thinks that Adolin's this like spoiled rich kid, so he doesn't really respect Adolin. I am pulled happily, and I just realized I am not using my microphone, so let me get that right now. So there's this really sweet scene where Kaladin's like former bridge crewman is is injured by Sazeth, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm useless. I can't help you fight anymore." And Kaladin's like, "Hey, hey, 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 hey. You're not useless just because you're disabled. We could find a place for you. You could be our cook." That's a really sweet scene. It shows like people with disabilities aren't useless. They could still contribute to society. They could help. I think that's a really sweet scene. It don't have anything to do with like the plot, but that was a moment that really stood out for me. You see, like, this is why I put up with Sanderson's weird magic nonsense because he's so good at writing characters and emotions. I think that's kind of why I come back to these books. So Adolin has been injured by this fight as well. He's still kind of trying to get back together, having his little sports film arc of recovering from an injury. Navani is trying to have this like archery strategy. So he's going to be the next Katniss Everdeen or Legolas or whoever you want to, arrow, I guess. So Shallan is kind of walking through the battlefield and shit, and I think this is cool because it just shows how rough things are. So he has this like eye awakening moment or this like awakening, um, because I don't know. She doesn't really see things from the ground level that often, so I thought that was really interesting. So he finally meets Kaladin, and she's like, "Hey, I'm Shallan," and he's like, "No, you ain't." He's like, "Yeah, I am. Here's my ID." And he's like, "Fine, whatever." Like I said, like they met, but they don't really have that many scenes together besides like that one thing. So I'm really interested to see how like the dynamic is. So Solan's kind of going undercover as this lady named Vale. She's chilling with Adolin because they're gonna get like married and stuff. Doing a lot of stuff. It's kind of hard to keep track, to be honest. Kaladin's keep on training, leveling up. Adolin has this big fight against like four sword bearers, so he's pretty outnumbered. But Kaladin kind of teams up with them, so they're like, maybe you're not the worst. Maybe we could work together now. Unfortunately, Kaladin presses the wrong button in the video game, and he is arrested. So SNI is kind of going a little crazy with the new powers, so she's like, let's take over the city and destroy everything. Um, and like Asani's guards and stuff are kind of realizing she's going a little crazy, so there's like gonna be some infighting among the SNI, which leads to even more conflict because if there's infighting between the SNI, that makes them less likely to defeat our main heroes. Because we're better united than divided, whatever Dumbledore said. Yeah, that's basically parts 1 through 3, and my thoughts on them. I think it's pretty good. A little bit hard to follow because there's a lot of terms I don't understand. So half the stuff I'm kind of wondering, like, okay, hold on a minute, what's going on? I'm a little confused. Um, these books are very confusing, a lot more confusing than the Mistborns or the Rulebreaker or Elantris. This is a lot more confusing. So I wouldn't say Stormlight is my favorite of Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere books, and I know that's a big unpopular opinion, but maybe my opinion will change by the end of the book. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think of parts 1 through 3. Do not spoil parts 4 and 5 or the other books in the series, because I'd be very sad. I hate spoilers. Until next time, peace.